Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
Sometimes the world was very close to a nuclear war. Once, a Russian officer did not launch missiles when there was a false alarm. Another time, a United States bomber accidentally dropped a live nuclear bomb over North Carolina. These moments show how dangerous nuclear weapons are. Almost 80 years have passed since the first atomic bombs were used. But only 9 countries have these powerful weapons. This might make you ask, why are there not more countries with nuclear bombs? Who has them and how did they get them? This book will explain the answers to these big questions. We will go on a journey to understand each country's story. Every nation that got the bomb did it for different reasons. For some, it was about fear for their safety. For others, it was about wanting to be powerful or having big goals. History also played a key part in these decisions. Each path to getting the bomb is unique and full of important lessons. By looking at these stories, we can understand why our world is the way it is today, with a few nations holding so much power. 2. The first bomb. The story of nuclear weapons began with the United States. In 1939, a famous scientist, Albert Einstein, sent a letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Einstein warned that Nazi Germany might be trying to build a new and terrible bomb using uranium. This bomb could be stronger than anything seen before. By 1942, the U.S. started a big secret project called the Manhattan Project. This project cost almost $2 billion at that time. It brought together many smart scientists and built special facilities in different places. Los Alamos in New Mexico was where the main work happened. Oak Ridge in Tennessee worked on uranium, and Hanford in Washington state made plutonium. Many workers did not know what they were building, only that it was very important and urgent for the war. A key person in this project was J. Robert Oppenheimer. He was a brilliant scientist, often called the father of the atomic bomb. With other smart people, they worked hard to turn scientific ideas into a real weapon. On July 16, 1945, at 5:30 in the morning, the first atomic device was tested. This event was called the Trinity Test. It happened in the desert near Alamogordo, New Mexico. The sky lit up with a huge flash, brighter than 1,000 suns. The blast turned sand into glass and destroyed a steel tower. Oppenheimer famously said words from an old book, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." Just 3 weeks later, on August 6th, the U.S. dropped an atomic bomb named Little Boy on Hiroshima, Japan. Many thousands died instantly. 3 days later, on August 9th, Fat Man was dropped on Nagasaki. Over 200,000 people died from the bombs and radiation. Japan then surrendered, ending World War II. With the bombs, a new, dangerous time began. The United States now had the power to destroy entire cities. Other countries, especially the Soviet Union, quickly started their own atomic programs. By 1950, the U.S. had almost 300 warheads. The idea behind this was called deterrence. It meant that if one country attacked with nuclear weapons, the other could attack back. This would stop anyone from starting a nuclear war. In 1952, the U.S. tested its first hydrogen bomb, Ivy Mike. This bomb was 700 times stronger than the Hiroshima bomb. It showed humanity's terrible new power. The U.S. nuclear arsenal grew large during the Cold War, and today the U.S. still has about 3,700 warheads. This is enough to destroy the world many times over. 3. The second superpower. After the United States showed its great nuclear power, the Soviet Union quickly began its own project. Joseph Stalin, the Soviet leader, did not want his country to be second. He saw the American atomic bomb as a direct threat. Because of this, he ordered a very fast program to build a Soviet nuclear weapon. He wanted it done as soon as possible. The Soviet program did not start from nothing. It got important help from spies. These spies shared valuable secrets from the U.S. Manhattan Project. One key spy was Klaus Fuchs, a clever German-born physicist. He worked inside the American project and gave detailed blueprints of the atomic bomb to the Soviets. Another spy, David Greenless, also provided crucial information. Their help gave Stalin a shortcut, speeding up the Soviet Union's efforts. Building this bomb was a huge and expensive task. The Soviet Union spent a large part of its country's wealth on this secret project for several years. Cities had less food and other goods so that labs could run. On August 29, 1949, the Soviets successfully tested their first atomic bomb. They called it RDS-1, also known as First Lightning. It was very similar to the American Fat Man bomb design. The world was surprised by this quick success. Many had thought the Soviet Union would need many more years. With this test, the United States was no longer the only country with nuclear weapons. This event officially started the Cold War arms race. Both the U.S. and the Soviet Union began to build more and more powerful weapons. The Soviets did not just copy American designs for long. By 1953, they tested their first hydrogen bomb, a much stronger kind of weapon. Then, in 1961, they detonated the Tsar Bomba. This was the most powerful nuclear weapon ever created. It was 3,000 times stronger than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The explosion broke windows hundreds of miles away. Throughout the Cold War, the Soviet Union collected a massive number of nuclear weapons. By the middle of the 1980s, it had the largest nuclear arsenal in history. This meant that two superpowers, the US and the Soviet Union, faced each other with enough weapons to destroy the world many times over. When the Soviet Union broke apart in 1991, Russia became its main legal successor. Russia took control of most of these nuclear weapons. Today, Russia still has the largest number of nuclear warheads, around 4,300, showing the lasting impact of this early nuclear race. 4. Old friends, new bombs. After World War II, British scientists had worked closely with the United States. They helped in the top-secret Manhattan Project, sharing ideas and discoveries. But in 1946, the U.S. government passed a law called the McMahon Act. This law stopped America from sharing atomic secrets with any other country, even close friends like Britain. This made Britain feel left out in the new atomic age. Britain's Prime Minister, Clement Attlee, then made a very important decision. The UK would build its own nuclear bombs, no matter how much it cost. Over £100 million, a lot of money at that time, was spent on secret labs and test sites. On October 3, 1952, Britain tested its first nuclear weapon. It was named Operation Hurricane. The bomb exploded on a ship near the Montebello Islands in Australia. This successful test showed the world that Britain was still a powerful nation. Having its own bomb gave Britain more influence in global matters. Later, the US and UK found common goals again. In 1958, they signed a special agreement. This brought back nuclear cooperation. Britain could now get US weapon systems and missile technology, like the Polaris and Trident missiles. These missiles, launched from submarines, are still a key part of Britain's nuclear defense today. The UK keeps a smaller but modern arsenal of about 225 nuclear warheads. These are always ready, hidden in submarines under the sea. Like Britain, France also decided to get nuclear weapons. For France, it was mainly about national pride and being independent. The leader of France, Charles de Gaulle, strongly believed this. He thought that a proud country should not rely on another nation's bombs for its own safety. This idea created the force de frappe, which meant an independent French nuclear strike force. The United States tried to persuade France to join its nuclear plans, but this only made France more determined to build its own. France wanted its own nuclear umbrella, not one shared with America. On February 13, 1960, France tested its first atomic bomb. It was called Gerbes Blue and exploded in the Algerian sky. This test was huge, 4 times stronger than the Hiroshima bomb, and it was the most powerful first test by any nation. France did not just join the nuclear club, it entered with great power. France's nuclear program was very expensive, costing more than most countries except the US and the Soviet Union. But de Gaulle believed it was worth it for France's standing in the world. He refused to put France's nuclear weapons under NATO's control. In fact, in 1966, de Gaulle removed France entirely from NATO's military command. He wanted France, not Washington, to decide when and how its bombs would be used. Today, France still has its own independent system for launching nuclear weapons. It has about 290 nuclear warheads carried by submarines and aircraft. Both Britain and France became nuclear powers to secure their place in the world. Britain eventually worked closely with the United States, getting access to its technology. France, however, chose a path of complete independence, even stepping away from NATO's military structure to ensure its own control. Each nation, in its own way, sought to protect its future with new and powerful bombs. 5. A new power in Asia. In the early 1950s, China and the Soviet Union were close partners. The Soviet Union helped China build its new country and provided assistance for atomic research. Soviet scientists advised Chinese engineers, and important equipment was sent to Beijing. For a time, it seemed China would quickly develop its own nuclear bomb with Soviet help. However, by 1959, relations between China and the Soviet Union became difficult. The leaders, Nikita Khrushchev and Chairman Mao, had many disagreements. Because of this, the Soviet Union suddenly stopped all nuclear support. They even called back their scientists and took away the blueprints. This was a major setback for China. Mao Zedong was very angry, but he was determined. He declared that China would develop the bomb completely on its own. This strong resolve became a reality on October 16, 1964. A large, powerful mushroom cloud rose over the Lop Nur test site in China's remote Xinjiang desert. This test was named Project 596, a name that remembered the month and year the Soviets pulled out. It was a big technical success and a clear message to the world. China was now a nuclear power. Just 3 years later, in 1967, China achieved another milestone. It successfully tested its first hydrogen bomb. This was a remarkably fast development, quicker than any other nation had managed. China had shown that it could master advanced nuclear technology. Mao famously believed that China's large population and strong will were more important than many bombs. He suggested that China could even survive a nuclear attack. China chose a unique path for its nuclear program called minimal deterrence. This meant having only enough nuclear weapons to strike back if attacked, rather than building thousands. In 1964, China also made a special promise, a no-first-use policy. This means China would never be the first country to use nuclear weapons. It would only use them to respond to a nuclear attack on itself. While some people question this promise, China still follows this policy today. China is estimated to have about 600 nuclear warheads. Its delivery systems, such as intercontinental missiles, submarines, and mobile launchers, are rapidly becoming more modern. China may have joined the nuclear club later, but it did so with significant power and its own distinct approach. 6. A dangerous rivalry. India and Pakistan share a difficult history. After their 1947 division, they fought wars. Both nations soon wanted nuclear weapons. India began its nuclear program for energy, technology, and strength against China or Pakistan. On May 18, 1974, India tested its first nuclear device, Smiling Buddha. India claimed peaceful uses, but the world doubted this. The test brought international criticism and economic sanctions. Remembering their 1962 war with China, India's leaders felt the bomb was vital. Pakistan was alarmed. Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto promised Pakistan its own nuclear weapon. A.Q. Khan, a scientist known for enriching uranium, helped Pakistan. Khan reportedly took centrifuge designs from a Dutch lab. He brought them to Pakistan, becoming a national hero and notorious nuclear smuggler. Pakistan insisted it developed its bomb alone. The nuclear race was on. Pakistan did not test a bomb in the 70s or 80s, but it was expected. In May 1998, India conducted 5 tests in the Pokhran Desert, announcing itself as a full nuclear power. This sent a clear message. 17 days later, Pakistan responded with 6 tests in the Chagai Hills. Both nations faced strong international criticism and new economic sanctions. The power balance in the region changed permanently. India and Pakistan now had nuclear weapons, creating a tense situation. These two countries have even fought small battles while possessing nuclear weapons. Conflicts in Kargil in 1999 and over Kashmir brought them close to a bigger war. The world watched nervously. Today, India has about 180 nuclear warheads, Pakistan about 170. Both officially state they will not use their weapons first. Many fear that if any two nuclear nations were to use bombs, it would be India and Pakistan. 7 rogues and secrets. North Korea became a wildcard member of the nuclear club. It started building a nuclear reactor, saying it was for peaceful uses. But in 2003, North Korea left a treaty against spreading nuclear weapons. On October 9, 2006, North Korea did its first nuclear test deep underground. It was a small blast, but the message was clear. Many countries put sanctions on North Korea, but it kept testing. Between 2006 and 2017, North Korea did 6 more tests, each one stronger. The last one was claimed to be a hydrogen bomb. North Korea also developed long-range missiles. Today, it is believed North Korea has about 40 to 50 nuclear bombs. Israel has a unique nuclear ambiguity policy. It never confirms or denies having nuclear weapons. In the 1960s, Israel built a secret nuclear reactor called Dimona in the desert. The United States largely understood Israel's reasons but did not publicly comment. Israel wanted to keep its enemies guessing about its power. In 1986, a former worker, Mordechai Vanunu, leaked secret details about Dimona to the press. Israel quickly arrested him and put him in prison for 18 years. Experts believe Israel quietly holds around 80 to 90 nuclear weapons. Some countries have chosen a different path. South Africa built 6 nuclear weapons during its old government. But between 1989 and 1991, it voluntarily dismantled them all. South Africa did not want a new government to have these bombs. Libya also tried to get nuclear weapons, buying parts from black markets. However, its leader, Muammar Gaddafi, later decided to stop his program for better international relations. Also, after the Soviet Union collapsed, Ukraine, Belarus, and Kazakhstan had thousands of nuclear weapons. They all returned these weapons to Russia for security. Lastly, we look at potential future nuclear states. Iran is a key concern. Iran says its nuclear program is only for energy, but some countries fear it wants bombs. In 2015, a deal was made to limit Iran's nuclear work, but it later failed. On June 22, 2025, the United States and Israel launched strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. This action delayed Iran's program by 1 to 2 years. Iran called the strikes illegal and promised to respond. Saudi Arabia has also hinted at getting its own bomb if Iran does. Countries like Japan, South Korea, and Brazil also have the ability to build nuclear weapons quickly if their situations change. 8. The nuclear world today. Many countries wanted nuclear weapons for different reasons. Some sought national security, a way to protect themselves from bigger threats. Nations like India and Pakistan developed bombs due to rivalry. Others, such as France and China, pursued them for national prestige and to show independence. Israel saw them as a final insurance against its enemies. Today, global nuclear arsenals look different from the Cold War. While there are fewer total weapons, down from 70,000 in the 1980s to about 13,400 now. They are more powerful. The United States and Russia still possess most of them, controlling 90% of the world's arsenal. The remaining weapons are held by a small club of nations. However, new and complex threats have appeared. It is no longer just about two big superpowers. Experts worry about nuclear terrorism, where groups might try to get a dirty bomb. There are also concerns about cyber attacks on launch systems. The idea of AI-driven retaliation raises new questions. Deterrence becomes less certain when the adversary might not be a rational state, but a different kind of actor. Despite the dangers, the nuclear bomb remains a strong symbol of a nation's power and importance. Even if these weapons are never used, their existence shapes international relations, defense budgets, and national pride. They influence how countries interact. Thus, the world maintains a fragile peace. Nuclear deterrence has helped prevent major wars between powerful nations for decades. Yet, the risks remain, and new challenges keep appearing. For some, having these weapons is not a guarantee of peace, but not having them means being a spectator in a very dangerous global game. Given the risks, do you think any country is justified in developing nuclear weapons today for its own security?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.